that's one of the special things about Dowling, and quite frankly, I think we have to do that.
Yes.
We don't have the numbers that some of the other schools that we compete against do, so we have to have that buy-in so we can share athletes and support one another, because if we start going against each other,
that's true.
Certain sports will prosper and certain sports will falter in a hurry.
DM Webcasting brought to you by The Tax Doctor, by Metabank, Tarpey Media Group, KHI Financial Solutions, hot off the press, Bozen the Florist. Devaney just throws that one up for grabs, and it's going to be nearly picked off at the 40-yard line. Not quite to adjust as Kevin McMurray to get back. All right, so would you rather have a league that is soft and you get 10 to 15 wins a year, or would you rather be black and blue when the tournaments start?
I'd rather be black and blue when the tournament starts. Now, that sounds crazy, but I think the schedule that we have played really helps prepare you for the tournament. I think it's really, really hard when you're not tested to really know what you're about as a team. And when you go through some of that during the regular season, you have an idea of how your kids are going to respond when it gets tough in the playoffs. So I'd much rather be black and blue. Obviously, everybody wants to win games, but ultimately, if something helps prepare you better to get to the state tournament, I think that's what you want. And that's our ultimate goal.
Mike O'Connor, head boys basketball coach from Dowling Catholic, is with us now. We're talking basketball. We're talking all sorts of things. Billy Battistone's coaching abilities and the future, his future coaching endeavors.
Have you seen Billy dance?
Did you
or
know?
Lip sync?
Did you know that Billy's cat has been harassing him all night?
Blitz?
Blitz is
Blitz?
See, Blitz is
Blitz
well
has his
known.
own Twitter page.
I know.
Blitz is a celebrity.
Well, let's pull that up here. I'm going to show you.
Now, and also, OC's been great. I got to work with OC a lot last year, and, he's got fatherly duties next week for the first playoff game. We're going trick-or-treating, right, OC?
Yep.
What are the costumes this year?
We've got, today it was Batman for Miles, and Elliot wants to be a monkey. Miles changed his mind. Last week he told us he wanted to be a cheerleader, but I think we've
you mean
softened,
the Will
softened
Ferrell?
on that one.
The Will Ferrell cheerleader?
No.
Okay.
No. We were watching the show and he saw a cheerleader and wasn't sure what it was and asked his mother, and Mom said, that's a cheerleader. So I don't think I want to be a cheerleader.
Now, OC, obviously, having you up here, you can provide some great insight and talk about the time commitment, or how you are able to balance the work and the family.
Joe Illig, the carry. Sorry, got to get Joe on there. Joe's worked hard,
Sure.
Great run, and the whole team was cheering him on.
Sure.
How do you balance the family life and try to coach?
It's tough. I put down my cell phone a lot more than I used to. You don't watch as much TV as you used to, and quite frankly, I try not to take things home at night, and sometimes that's good and bad, but you got to get away from work, and your priorities change a lot when you have kids. When you're young, you think there's so much free time, and you get older and you have them, and you realize, okay, there's not as much free time as there used to be, and you got to give some things up, and it's been good. I used to be one of those people that was glued to my phone, and it's good to get away from it and get away from the TV and spend time with your kids. It's fun.
Holding on the Maroons after the run, so that's wiped out. 9:31 to play, 42-0 Maroons lead. And I don't think parents should second-guess a coach who wants to spend time with his family as opposed to maybe looking at game tape again.
No, and I think our parents are all pretty understanding of that. I would have to say that I think we become better coaches when you have kids, because you see things from a whole different perspective, a whole different prism. And we'll never not be prepared in basketball. We'll always put the time in to do that. May mean we have to get up a little bit earlier in the morning or stay up a little bit later at night, but those are the sacrifices that you have to do to make sure your team is ready.
Elliott trying it. Squirts out to the outside into Bobcat territory all the way down to the 30-yard line. Elliott Trinan.
Elliott's had some nice runs he's played this year.
His last two games,
Tough
he
kid.
has been incredible to see him run, and great to see him run. He's playing behind Chase Dowell and Nate Christian, and we might see more. You just don't have enough plays to give it to him when you're scoring on one or two plays every drive. We'll see.
Their backfield is so loaded with Chase and Nate, and Chase is a fun football player to watch.
Well, and they got a lot of running backs coming up through the program as well. That's one of the things that we've been talking about, especially at the lower levels. There's 4 or 5 serviceable running backs, so I think you're going to see a lot of kids moving around positions because they've got a lot of skilled players coming up.
Mike, talk about say coming up, freshman, sophomore, junior leagues out at some of the elementary and middle schools that level. How does that work in terms of keeping them on the same page? I mean, how do you do the Catholic Football League for basketball?
Well, they have Catholic Basketball League for basketball, and that's kind of an all-inclusive thing. For the kids that are a little bit more into it, a little bit more competitive with it, we have our NBA program, and there's probably 15 to 18 kids that are even a little bit more into it than that, and they'll play some of the elite AAU with the Iowa Tack and Kingdom Hoops. So there's not a shortage of opportunities for kids to play basketball. Seems like anywhere you look, teams are offering, or facilities or clubs are offering teams to play and play competitively. So that's the great thing about basketball. If you want to play, there's usually a spot for you to play.
Would you say that basketball is the best sport that this metro has, where there's most talent top to bottom, or it's most evenly spread? Is basketball the sport?
Obviously, well, I think in football there's a disparity, and I'll probably get killed for saying that. But
no, I think you're right.
I think
anybody who knows,
clearly a list of haves and have-nots. Maybe that's the wrong term to use. But basketball,
nice
there's a ton of parity.
Trinan up to the 10.
Again.
Sorry.
There's a ton of parity. I think baseball has a ton of parity.
That's the one I was going to suggest, baseball too.
But I think basketball and baseball definitely have the most parity. Now, I'll tell you this. I grew up in eastern Iowa, and I think eastern Iowa is more basketball-focused. I think down here football is clearly number one. And I don't think it's close. I mean, some of the crowds that we have for our games, I would have never imagined seeing those in eastern Iowa.
Trinan the call, goes up the middle, knocks over a Bobcat. Touchdown, second of the night for Elliot Trinan from 11 yards out. And the Maroons continue to extend their lead. Now lead 48-0 with 6:13 to play.
Oh, he does run hard, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He finished that run.
Yes, he did.
With a thud.
All right, OC, so we've talked about your basketball career. We've talked about your family. I want to know how much you miss coaching tennis, because I know a lot of my friends who are listening are going to want to know about tennis.
Tennis was a pleasant surprise for me.
Was it? Did you like it?
I did.
Yeah.
Funny story. The first year I was at Dowling, I came up on a Sunday for something, and our old athletic director, John Hayes, was standing there. He says, "Hey, I've been meaning to ask you a question." I said, "Oh, yeah, what's that?" "Want to coach tennis?" I'm like, "I don't know anything about it." He's like, "That's all right. Most of the good kids have their own coaches. Just tell them what time to be there. Give a little bit of organization." I said, "All right, when's it start?" He said, "Tomorrow." I said, "All right, let's do it." And I honestly really, really enjoyed it. We had great kids and great parents. It was great for me because it taught me that sometimes as a coach, just get out of the way.
Sure.
The less you say sometimes is the better. Because there wasn't always times that I could tell kids what to do because I didn't know.
Because you didn't know. Sure.
And they had to figure it out on their own, which sometimes isn't always a bad thing either. But luckily we had talented kids that didn't need me to coach a whole lot. They just needed me to get the bus to the other team's
which I'm
facility
sure you
on time.
did just fantastically.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun memories from tennis, and was lucky enough to coach a lot of really good players. And I can sit here and tell you that I honestly had no hand in the success that they had. They did most of it. They did almost all of it on their own. It was great.
Do you watch Wimbledon differently though now?
I do. I would love to go watch live tennis. It's hard for me if I just saw two guys playing at the park. I couldn't go watch it. But if some of the good kids that played in the last 10, 11 years were playing against another good kid in the air. I mean, Charlie Karras was at Roosevelt. He was a 4-time state champion. He's out at Georgetown now, and he's an all-American tennis player there. Elliot Baker played at Dowling, who's one of the best competitors I've ever brought. If those kids were playing, I'd watch it. I mean, it's just so fast-paced and so quick, and you don't really get that feel when you watch it on TV, but I had a whole different perspective for it. I can remember the first day I went out. That wasn't the first day. It was the first year we had a kid by the name of Charlie Smith, and Charlie was good. And he had this thing called the kick serve when the ball hit the court. I mean, it kicked to the left or right, whichever way he wanted to do it. And I said, "All right, hit a few at me. I want to see if I can get it." I struck out like 6 times.
The tennis coach.
Yep. And then they looked at me like, "You're our coach?" Yep.
Those who can't
be here by
teach,
3:30 tomorrow.
right?
Yeah,
Is that-
that's right.
Well, I've always said when I came to Dowling, as a young teacher, one of my goals was to see every sport one time my first 2 years here. And so you go out to, and I've seen a tennis match before, boys and girls, and there's just not a lot of people out there, but
No.
Oh.
it is interesting to watch. You bring out a lawn chair and you get to watch, and it's fun. The kids are enjoying it. It's good sportsmanship. They call their own fouls.
It's a totally different mentality, a totally different attitude surrounding it. Most of the kids are there just because they want to be a part of a team. Some are good, some aren't. That's kind of a refreshing thing because football and basketball and baseball, those things can get so cutthroat sometimes.
Sure.
Tackle made by Charlie Schulte there, a name we don't get in much. 4:42 to play in the ball game, 49-0. So tennis was fun. Don't mean to interrupt that story, but I want you to. I have a couple more questions here, Mike, because I don't know what else your responsibilities are. Are you done for the night? You have to shut the lights out?
Actually, tonight.
Oh,
thank
no.
God,
Long, wide
he
open
got
pass, and
behind
it's
the defense there,
underthrown, wide open with Seth Heinrichs. And Devaney just couldn't quite get it
Clearly
there.
tell he's going to want that one back.
Yeah, he
Nobody
is gonna
within
want that
15
one
yards of him.
Now, no matter what these guys say, Mike, we're darn close in age. 20 years from now, they're going to go, I wish I could play one more time. No matter if they're getting beat 49-0, these Marshalltown guys, you talk about Devaney wanting that one back. You darn right he wants that one back.
Yeah.
He wants the whole game, the whole season back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Talk about that. Trying to put these kids who are 16 and 17 and 18 and the life is all in front of them to just say, step back and look around who's here because you'll never be in this situation
I
again.
think it's really hard to do because kids are so right now. And we can all attest to it. You can think back, boy, I'd love to play another basketball game or I'd love to play another football game, knowing what I know now. I think it's really hard to do that. I know one of the things that football's probably done, I know we've done in basketball, is try to have graduates come back and tell the guys that, hey, listen, you don't get these times back. Enjoy it right now because these really are the best times. If you go to play sports in college, it changes. It's fun and it's a passion, but it can be a job.
Yeah.
You get to college, it gets to be a
Absolutely.
little more cutthroat, and your jobs are on the line.
Your
Both-
schooling's paid for. Someone's multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
career depends on what you do.
Somebody's expecting you to catch passes or make baskets.
Sure.
Morrow under center now to lead the Maroons. Seth, we'll get to you in a moment. Trinan again up to the 20-yard line. Seth, it looks like they continue to rotate a lot of Maroons in and out here, and they're moving the football.
Oh yeah, and again, it's the whole execution, but more so, I think it's fun for all the guys on the sideline to cheer a little bit. You hear some names that don't get in very often and get some carries, and there's a couple guys here that we've heard and
I like watching our coaches
and
signal
seen,
plays.
and
Ryan Boyle's getting involved too.
yeah, and Joe Illig and got a carry earlier, and the
Man,
bench
BJ
here
takes
went
so
crazy
seriously.
for that, so he got a 9-yard run, and he's back there and trying and obviously running hard again.
All right, Seth, thank you very much. All right, Mike, I know Billy is going to say these are Blitz's questions, but they're probably, what else do you have left to throw at OC? What else do you want to serve him at 95 miles an hour?
No, I think OC does a terrific job, and obviously, OC was one of the first guys I got to meet when I came to Dowling, and he's a great coach and a great role model, even for somebody who doesn't know anything about basketball or coaching basketball. The way OC conducts himself, the way he deals with players, and he's been a great coaching role model for me. And you can go through the list of coaches at Dowling that I've learned a lot from, especially as a young coach, and OC's definitely at the top of that list. So I have a lot of fun working with him, and he's putting me to work next Wednesday. I'm taking over while he goes trick-or-treating. I'm standing in as the acting athletic director, so I'm sure there's some sort of intense ritual or some sort of initiation ceremony that I have to prepare for. I was in a fraternity, so I know how that works. So I'll have to be prepared to take over next Wednesday.
Big
yes.
shoes to fill. No, we've been lucky to have Billy come to Dowling. That his youth and energy has been infectious. Have we discussed his directing abilities?
No, not yet.
Is he you mean
his
like
ability
his-
to sing and the Call Me Maybe thing last year, and we did a video this year.
We've
during
talked about the
Yeah.
videos, the homecoming videos,
the
and he
homecoming
sends
video
me the
this year
note.
was hilarious. And
Oh, so-
Billy's a mastermind.
So you got
behind
to be
all
in
this.
that and the
He's a
crying
Pittsburgh
coach
fan.
is seeing it.
That's a little
I
bit
know.
of an issue.
I have an issue, maybe not
I don't-
with it, but hey.
The whole baseball thing, it's easy to root for the Pirates this year.
It is.
There you
Absolutely.
go. Here we go. Yeah, and it's easy to root for the Steelers, and they have 6
Nah.
Super Bowls, and there it comes. This is classic.
Yeah.
Hey, do you like Michigan tomorrow?
28 seconds
I
to
do.
go
They don't
here.
play. They have a week off.
There you go. I was
So I'm picking them
testing
to
you,
win.
see?
Mike, first game is when?
December 3rd, play Des Moines Roosevelt. He's going to be really good over there.
Morrow
Should be better.
takes the snap, and that is going to put a bow
Boys,
on.
thanks for having me
That's
up.
it. Hey, thanks for joining us, OC. It's always a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Anytime.
very much. We'll see you in the off season of football and in basketball. Thanks, Mike.
Sounds good, guys. See ya.
Mike O'Connor, as this ball game finishes out 49-0. Dowling Catholic finishes the regular season 9-0. The Bobcats fall to 1-8 as this ball game goes final from Valley Stadium.